The footy world is well and truly on the Max Gawn bandwagon, but the big fella is more than just a cult figure and more than your typical ruckman. Today, his Demons have a massive challenge. The Sydney Swans at a very, very wet SCG. This has not been a friendly venue for the Demons. They haven't won here, Demon, in more than a decade, and it's going to be challenging today because we're going to get more than 30 mils of rain potentially. Welcome to you, mate.
Thank you, Anthony. Well, in the battle between Melbourne and Sydney, Melbourne have got one up today already. It's meant to be beautiful down there. Here, it's not exactly dry and dusty. It's a little murky and damp.
Well, the Demons have been terrific, though, haven't they? And
yes.
They take on the Sydney Swans with an unchanged lineup. They were so good against Collingwood, and they're very settled.
Well, it's symbolic of how they're going at the moment. They're happy with what they're putting out there. A few weeks ago, they brought the kid Petrarca in, and he's been nothing short of sensational. Vince has been wonderful. Viney's been a wonderful leader as well. Cross over to Sydney now. And look, they've got a few injuries creeping in, but they are still littered with superstars. Look at that midfield. McVeigh, Kennedy, Jack, Parker. They're all there. And then they've got the big bloke up forward, Franklin, and he's been supported now by an emerging star, Isaac Heaney.
But 4 changes for Sydney. Of course, no Kurt Tippett, and it's a big challenge for Callum Sinclair and Toby Nankervis. Now, this is why it's such an important game. Sydney in 4th could jump to 2nd, and Melbourne almost the lone challenger now to the 8th.
Well, with Port Adelaide getting knocked over yesterday. So Melbourne are the challenger. So we want the 8 to keep alive for as long as possible. And look, they're really just trying to bank wins at this stage of the season. So we want the last month of the year to be alive.
Well, one of the great stories in footy is milestones, and certainly when it's someone like Heath Grundy, not your spectacular player by any means, started as a forward who kicked 3 goals on debut back in 2006. But here he is, despite some criticism over the journey, fronting up for game 200, and he's got a massive challenge against that man, Jesse Hogan.
Well done to Grundy. He's a beautiful reader of the play. I thought he might have been struggling a little bit last year, but he predicts where the ball is going very, very well. Jesse Hogan last week, very good once again, but still has a couple of elements in his game. We look at this one. He's looking for the miracle pass. Now, watch what he does with his gesturing. I want it longer. I want it over the top. Now, to get that, Jesse, you're asking him to kick it 66 metres on the fly, lace out. You have to understand your teammates and recognise how difficult their job is, because when you do your job right, you do this. You charge at the ball. You're excellent at winning the ball above head. He's got a wonderful set of hands, and when he does this, he's nearly impossible to stop.
So Melbourne coming off a win, the Swans coming off a loss to GWS. A big load carried by this man. He's not your normal ruckman. He kicked 3 goals last week, had 27 disposals. He's what you call a very colourful footballer, and we can't wait for him in action next here from the SCG.
Let's take him back.
I'm getting into too much ruckcraft. You guys wouldn't know much about that.
Don't start talking about ruckcraft.
You should have seen the stare down that I got from umpire Nichols there. He was not happy about it. Can't really talk when I've got the ball. I'm not very good at multitasking there, Dermy. Sometimes I struggle to get jeans that fit me, so I go for that little hipster look with the ankles out. Apart from that, I reckon I'm pretty normal. I don't know what he's talking about.
Max has got 3. Wow, loves it.
So the Demons hit the sodden turf of the SCG. They are the main challenger at the moment after Port Adelaide's loss yesterday to the 8, but different challenges today, not just the Swans, and an imposing record that they hold over the Demons. It's this weather as well, huge amount of water, something that Melbourne haven't really had to experience too much this year. The Swans, on the other hand, only a couple of weeks ago experienced it up against the Gold Coast. But Tony Shaw, great to have you with us. And you'd have to say the Demons have been one of the really good stories so far of season 2016, led by Paul Roos in his last year.
Well, they have, and I think 12 months ago, if you said that they're going to be the 5th highest scoring side in the competition, people would have laughed at you, Hutto. So well done to Paul and Simon Goodwin. But both these sides, it's going to see who adjusts the best to the conditions here. Not a great day for key forwards, but you're going to have to do it at ground level.
It's been a very good list construction, hasn't it? We just see pictures of Thomas Bug, Dom Tyson there from GWS as well, been valuable additions.
Of course, it's been led by Paul Roos, as we said, in his last year as the coach of Melbourne, and no stranger to the SCG, a premiership-winning coach with the Swans, and the man who was his skipper, Barry Hall.
Roosie, we'll tell what conditions. We've got 30 mils of rain coming, but just important for players to adapt quick.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we played in the conditions a couple of weeks ago and so did they, so it's probably not going to be as big a concern. But the territory battle's important, isn't it? Getting in your forward line nice and quick,
Maxi Gorn important last week, super important today, particularly with these conditions. SCG, the Swans, need first use of the footy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their mids are really, really good. Look, Sinclair hasn't played a lot in the ruck, but he was brought over here as their ruckman, so he's quite competent. So that's going to be an important battle.
There's a bloke you're coaching against today, Heath Grundy, playing his 200th game. You come to the club with one eyebrow and as a forward, and now he's one of the premier backmen in the competition. Really good story.
Yeah, it is a good story. He came as a forward, struggled a bit early, didn't he? But look, he's become a premier defender and terrific. Yeah, congratulations, you're a terrific bloke as well.
Good luck in the other rain.
Thanks, mate.
Extra special insights there from Barry on Heath
One
Grundy.
eyebrow.
But of course, still no Ted Richards. Alir is back in the team today, so he will really have to lead that defence. And it's the face of their defence is changing a bit, as is the Melbourne lineup.
No doubt about that, but they're settled for the for this week as well, Shorey. They haven't made any additions. Isn't it amazing? Young Viney, who's the co-captain or will be co-captain, he'll be up there very, very soon. He now becomes a pivotal player on ground, and he's still only in his second or third season. And that man there, as a key forward, a lot of key forwards hate wet weather. He doesn't mind it at all, because he does get a lot of the ball off the deck, and he does like to push and shove and mark it on his chest. Josh Kennedy sneaked ahead of him with 5 goals yesterday. Lance has still had 10 more shots at goal than Josh Kennedy, so he gets the kicking boots on. He's going to get the skates on.
Sitting on 749 goals as we speak.
Well, if he gets his man up the ground, he loves to turn him around too, so if he gets some space behind, that's what he can do. And we can see Nate Jones just won the toss.
And up against his brother for the first time, Zach Jones as well, so look out for that through the afternoon. The impact of no Tippett, boys. Obviously, Kel Sinclair has to step up. Toby Nankervis gets his second chance for the year.
Yeah, I'm just a bit worried about having 2 ruckmen, even though Tippett's out. Do you need 2 ruckmen? Could they go with a medium sizer to do some of the work and then maybe get more possession around the ground? So they've gone that way, but Callum Sinclair, he gets his opportunity.
They probably feel like they need the height in the forward line. Or you think on a day like today,
Well, that's Gorn. That's Gorn's influence.
Well,
Gorn has
Collingwood
been
did it.
so good around the ground and feeding his smaller players. That's Gorn's great form that's forced him to go in with a second ruckman.
But Collingwood went with 3 ruckmen 2 weeks ago, last week, and it didn't work against Maxi Gorn. A different type of day, though.
One too many.
One too many.
Yeah, that's for sure. Max Gorn, 3 goals himself and 27 disposals. Viney, of course, coming back after that broken hand. Still had high possessions last week. I wonder if Mitchell will go to whether John Longmire will send Tom Mitchell onto Viney. Doesn't look like he's going to at the start, because he's starting out of the square, Tom Mitchell.
I tell you, the man I would tag is Bernie Vince. He's the one who gets behind play. He plays off half back. No one mans him up, and he just racks them up week in, week out.
And of course, last week, Bernie Vince, career best 42 disposals, including 25 kicks. Tom Mitchell's been outstanding for them this season. So that's all ahead of us.
The Swans aren't exactly hiding their hand here. Parker straight into the middle. Tough in and under player along with Kennedy and Jack.
Been down a bit of late, Luke Parker. Only 13 disposals last week. Thomas Bug looking to rough him up. It's one of the standout games of the weekend. And we are underway at the SCG. Callum Sinclair with a big swipe down against Max Gorn. Nathan Jones used to be well suited to these conditions. And Jack Watts coming out. Mills as his escort. He shook off the first tackle, not the second. Dawes has made a bit of difference structurally to Melbourne over the last couple of weeks as well. Viney, you'd think he'd thrive as well in the wet. Watts is a positive start from the Demons. Kent's been excellent this year. And he's opposed to McVeigh, which shows the respect that they're giving him right now. And we're going to see a lot of this. Try and dig it out. Away it went from Kent. Here's Kennedy. First of many, you would suspect. He was slow to start last week, Josh Kennedy, but tried to lead them back. Frost looks like he's found his position in defence for Melbourne over the past fortnight. Alir comes in to try and spoil. Viney tried to go off the ground. Tyson, Bug.
You mentioned Frost in defence. He was starting next to Mitchell, and the pace aspect won't bother him. He's doing a slider over now. Yeah, he's going to pick up Gary Rowan, because he does have really good pace. Rowan obviously has good pace.
Gorn took front position. Sinclair was able to equal the battle. Lloyd, he's been able to get plenty of possessions. Nick Smith, ever reliable, and just waited as long as he could to get the clearing kick and make sure he could find his teammate. Dean Towers back in the team. Drives to half forward. Rowan tried to nudge to the front. Good defiance from Frost. Jetta found himself surrounded by red and blue jumpers. And the Swans all over the top.
Well, that's the one thing you don't want. It's all right for Melbourne. Swans, when you get in your forward line, you don't want stoppages. You want to keep the momentum of the ball going towards goal. It might be a lot of goals kicked off the ground today.
Good tap.
To Jones, and that gains them 35 metres. Dawes and Alia.
That's a real tap out to advantage. A lot of times we see statistics that, you know, can mean a little bit of, watch this, to the outside. He knew Jones was going there. He heard the call. That's a dominant display of tap work.
He gets the tap again, but it's smashed back by Kennedy. Just reaching down, and Curvis was clever enough to the advantage of Parker. Rowan out to meet it strongly. Now Vince trying to work the handball to Wagner, but difficult terrain to try and work your way through. As the numbers multiply, a scrambler closer. Franklin with his first sniff. Mitchell screwing it back. Now Hogan has gone down to defence to help out, just for reinforcement. And he's got Watts on the move, who started in a positive fashion. Was happy enough to take the chest mark. His teammates further afield say, just kick it. Plan it as deep as you can. Unfortunately, they weren't on the same wavelength. Alia, though, with the fumble, allows Bug in. Big opportunity, Demons. One step ahead of them was McVeigh. Was able to read the play.
He's a lot better than that, Tom Bug, with his foot skills. I know it's wet, and I know it's sloppy, but you've just got to get the ball airborne in that situation.
Rain started here this morning just about 11 o'clock and has just got stronger and steadier as the day's gone on, and the radar, as we showed you, doesn't look like there's going to be a break for quite a long time. Here's an update, Derm.
Good. The yellow stuff is what we're trying to avoid. That's heavier, and if it gets red, batten down the hatches.
Unfortunately, it's had a big effect on the amount of people that have come to watch this game, which, with Melbourne in form and Sydney needing to bounce back from last week, a tantalising prospect. It's going to be hard going, but the Swans, you think, have the players in the midfield that can thrive in these conditions. Parker and Kennedy, Jack, McVeigh, those sort of players. Wagner. His brother made his debut on Friday night for North Melbourne. Mills, the ball fisted out of there. Viney sends it deeper and scrambling it, and that's a terrific result for the D's.
Yeah, that's a great result there. It's nearly like a point just to keep the ball in. You want the ball in the area. It's better than a point, I would think, to try and get every goal is going to be worth about 4, I think, today.
The reason we've got inside 50s going 6-1 in favour of Melbourne is that they've won the contested possession count 12-4 already.
No chances with little handballs out of defence for the Swans. Instead, it's one handball and then the kick, although the kick smothered. Kennedy has to go and try and retrieve the situation. Wasn't able to do that. And Jones to Tyson. The Demons trying to pounce on this opportunity they have. Again, just extremely difficult to do anything more than just gain some ground, which McDonald was able to do. And they're closer to goal. Still without a goal in this match after 5 minutes. Gawn, front, slapped it away. Jones. Kent, McVeigh, Hanbury. Dawes. Petrarca turned it on last week, the young man. And that's almost as good as his terrific spin and goal last week. In these conditions, to be able to cobble together that sort of kick shows the class of the young man.
Gee, that was power. Look at the players off the back of the pack from Melbourne there. Well organised. It's going to be a hard road to try and get through that for the Sydney Swans. It wears you down. That is a powerful kick off one step to get so much height on that Derm and the distance.
And he undercut it as well. He got the backspin on it. But even from here, do you hear the ka-thump on the ball? But he's a powerful kid, this lad.
What a talent. Christian Petrarca. The degree of difficulty in that shot was very high, and Melbourne have made an excellent start here, both in terms of controlling the ball. Now they have a goal on a day when they're going to be hard to come by. Oliver servicing some more of his players. Bug chips it up. Try to take the chest mark that time, Petrarca. Trengove has returned over the past fortnight. Kicked a goal last week, which was most welcome. Tyson back to the square. Hogan in front. Oh, he was happy to try and let it go through, but Grundy certainly didn't share those same sentiments. And he's able to clear it to Rose.
So good in that situation, isn't he, Grundy? He's just such a wonderful body player. Barry Hall, I know you're soaking wet, but we're going to make you speak. You would have done a bit of one-on-one work with him at training over the years. He's a really good...
I was about to say to him, he's very, very strong one-on-one, particularly through the hips. He's really thick through the hips. He's a very hard man to move. You don't want to go one-on-one too much with Heath Grundy.
Towers up towards half forward. Then Curvis again willing to fly. Tries to scramble for it at ground level. Bernie Vince squeezes a kick out.
Oh, well done, Jack Watts.
Got to the right spot, didn't he? He and Rampy, that'll be another tantalising duel, potentially. Now, Zach Jones.
See, he ignored Aliir. He just didn't trust to give him the ball there.
He had no real options by foot, did he? And so he's just waiting till something materialised. It never really did.
Umpire let that go. Yeah. Otherwise, he thought he might have just plain old missed it. But it looked to be fairly high.
Well, George Hewitt, he got about 3 free kicks. That was a high tackle, though.
Did he sag, though? Did he drop into it? Let's have a look. He's up.
No, he was just, he was going to do it, wasn't he?
Lowers his height. Almost semi-corrected the adjudication of that rule already.
Gee, well done, Hogan.
Yeah, he's able to get it through to Tyson.
This is Willing.
Of course, Dom Tyson playing plenty of footy in Sydney with GWS before moved across to the Demons. Been a very solid contributor for them, averaging 24 disposals and 4 tackles.
Well, I've got 3 here now. Thomas Bugg and Frosty.
Sinclair came well. Good timing on the tap too. Mitchell just missed the mark. Sinclair tries Kennedy this time. Off the ground. Again, you'd expect we'll see plenty of that. Wagner disposed of and couldn't get rid of the footy in correct fashion. So Rose, who was promising again last week, just astray and he's kicking for goal. It's not the best kick, and Hunt, obviously even the easiest of marks, what appears to be the easiest marks, can't be taken for granted today.
Got to keep your feet in these conditions. You get a second chance or third chance because of the ball slipping through the pack.
Go on in the wrestle. Trengove. Towers did well to get that together for Jones. Oh, Nan Curvis, a little spurt, got himself into the clear, and then he was quickly shut down. But Jack, with a secondary effort for the Swans, hits the post. Always plumps up the stats when you kick the ball to yourself and fall back. Not that Bernie needed much help last week with 42. Corn along the line. Bug looking for something better before the kick. Trengove was onto the plan and knew the dangers around him. Dawes. And Maxi, even he couldn't stand up in that one.
It's just about yardage from the kick inch. Another 10 metres. It's a lot in these conditions, so I think they'll play on nearly every time, Hutto, unless there's a kick straight on.
Now it all helps, doesn't it? 6-point lead, Melbourne, with the only goal after 10 minutes in the opening term. Hanbury has been quelled so far, but can't keep a player like that down all day. McVeigh, and Curvis is charging out. Didn't care what was in his road, even his teammate. And he maybe made it difficult for his teammate Rose to take the mark. And as it turns out, Melbourne are now on the move.
It's been a good foot race here. He is quick, Kent, and he's just clawing on Mills. Works so hard to keep the body between his opponent and the ball then.
Kent stayed afloat though, didn't he? Stayed up, and then he was able to impact the next contact.
They're playing the better footy, but weather like this, it's hard to actually capitalise.
No doubt.
Unless you're hugely better than the opposition.
Hogan, even Kennedy couldn't drag the mark in. They surround him. Mitchell, Rampy, sliding in Jack. And again, it's out through Lloyd. Rose, well positioned.
Oh, he's off.
Oh, boy.
He's dropped it. That's holding the
That's a
ball.
lack of awareness of what's around you.
Just a bit excited, wasn't he? Wanted to play quick, Shorey.
Well, the Demons try and play quick back, but that doesn't amount to anything either. Now Jack taking it. Ambitious kick into the middle, but he went for Franklin, who's got plenty of resources on hand. Rampy, the fumble, though. Franklin was still there. Instead, he went for Sinclair. Maybe not the wisest of choice. Difficult for Big Cal in those circumstances, but he gets another crack at it. And off to McGlynn. Just wormed his way through cleverly. Almost a slider from Towers. He recovered superbly to climb to his feet, but Bernie Vince well placed.
Just going to hold it up.
bit of almost footy from the Swans, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's tough to hit the target. You have to strike the ball almost millimetre perfect on your foot.
Jaden Hunt. He's going to claim it here.
Yeah, I reckon that's holding the ball. He had opportunity. Just the one thing about the switch today, too. People say it's dangerous, but I think it's the only way you're going to really score. At a lot of times, you've got to take it on.
Hunt put his faith in Hogan, but he had 2 to contend with, and one of them was the experienced McVeigh. Uses McLean as the way out across the ground. He was set up a bit there, Jack. Good, strong, contested footy by Oscar McDonald.
He did very, very well. There was real danger, Hutto, if it got over the back there. He's got to go again here for the contest.
And again, Bernie Vince is being a commanding player for the Demons from behind the ball, as you talked about, Shorey. McVeigh probably doing the same role for the Swans. Mills had an excellent first season. Parker didn't mark. Well done, Bernie Vince. Trengove, he gets cleaned up. Again, play on the call. And opportunity on the Wagner kick. Tough for Rose. Got it from both sides. Viney puts himself in the line of fire.
I reckon the umpires umpired really well so far. There's a lot of players leaning forward in the tackles and they're not falling for it. So you're going to have to earn your keep today.
Tyson, Jones, Dawes. And Kennedy sees it out. Dean Towers and Jared McVeigh both with 7 disposals that had the most of the footy on the ground so far. We've gone 13 minutes at the halfway point of this opening term. Oliver, well done, Nankervis. Good physical impact. That is a dangerous kick. Going to land in the middle of the ground. There's Demons from both sides. Hogan really desperately wanted to make it his own and wasn't far away. McLean and now Grundy well adrift up the ground following Hogan. Heaney, been a bit quiet of late. He's a man of undoubted talent, but just couldn't get his feet when he needed to. Well done, Hunt.
Yeah, Heaney offloaded him back in the square, pushed him over, and that gave Hunt a chance to arrive a little late, but he had a sprint up and he really put the crosshairs on him.
No score last week. Isaac Heaney's had 17 goals, 8 for the season. A bag of 5 and a bag of 4. The rest have been singles or nothings. Dawes met by Grundy. Wins a little mini battle against Hogan. Hewitt, timing was perfect, wasn't it, from Lloyd, but not the kick. Good contest, Heaney. Jack, Jetta's got one arm. Hard for him to dispose of the ball correctly when that's the case. Not sure how he did. Maybe the umpire
He didn't.
saying he didn't have prior, but Kennedy comes out of there again in a jolt. Oliver, good snatch from Nankervis. He's showing really good endeavour there and aptitude, isn't he, Nankervis?
I was worried about the tools, having too many tools, but yeah, I think this was well, it didn't come out there, and that just play on. I thought that was the handball where he didn't get the fist to it.
Again, the Demons defending grimly. Back to the middle, Hogan. Play on the call. And the hands, just those little nifty hands that players are so good at these days in AFL footy. Very hard to affect on a day like today. Franklin is sweating on Oscar McDonald.
He had a fair run up at it.
He had his brother as backup.
He is intimidating, Lance, when he's 106 kilos, 6'5 and a half, and he's got about 30 steps behind him. He's coming at a rapid rate of knots.
Yeah, he doesn't try and hide the fact that he's on his way. Parker, they can jump from every side, but again, well read off the pack by Wagner.
Great kick. Got to gather in one.
Oh, he does. And then he can kick it inside. It was an interesting kick. Aaliyah gets to the front against Watts and played it on its merits. An outstanding mark. And the crowd responding, and now he's off and going, Aaliyah. Unfortunately, lets himself down with a smother. We're going to see plenty of those through the day. Got help from behind from Grundy. Demons fight amongst themselves. We've still got more numbers at ground level. Hunt back into Oliver. Tough for Wagner. Jones there as well. And finally, they get it out. Stretch back to the wing. Even those sort of marks aren't certain of being taken today. Now, Petrarca couldn't really dictate terms the way he would have liked. Bug back for Viney. Knew he was in trouble before the ball arrived. And Rampy, his normally trusty left boot, Had a bit of space, a bit of margin for error that time. Towers has been good early.
Good kick too, smart kick.
Sneaky along the line. Gary Rowan suddenly breaks clear. Buddy's ready. Can he leap? He's got the one, but not the two. At the back, McDonald does well, Tom McDonald. Now Dawes has to be clean, and he was below his knees. Didn't help Jones too much though, but sheer weight of numbers.
They're defending well.
Aren't they? Frost.
He's taking it on. He's taking the bounce.
Off the ground. Now Grundy had to decide whether to stay or go. He decided to go, and look at the kick.
He's crossed it.
Right up to half forward. Jenner. He was right in the sights.
Sydney, Luke Parker.
Well, Neville Jetta didn't go at the contest harder. Then he tried to milk a free kick from the umpire and didn't get away with it.
Parker puts his faith in Franklin again. Dawes well positioned, but the danger's still very much evident. Kennedy, oh, what a pick-up, an even better kick from Josh Kennedy. What a game, what a contest.
Well, I'd like that Neville Jetta contest, Derm, I think it was so important that, you know, in this game, you're not going to milk free kicks from the upper. You have to keep your body over the line, take it on, even if it's a contested area. We saw Chris Dawes drop the mark he probably should have taken, but Kennedy will love these conditions. Just strong in their hips, keeps his body, and well done to Jack. You're going to have to play smart, and very smart players normally stand out in these conditions.
Only kicked 4 goals this year up until today, Josh Kennedy, which
He has always been a big goal kicker of 20, 25 metres out directly in front of the goal square. He floats down. That's one in the side of the head. That'll hurt. And he gets a lot of snaps at goal from directly in the corridor.
he is normally a reliable source of goals. That's a good mark.
Just want to ask Barry, I'm having a look at the backman. Oscar McDonald, the other McDonald, and also Frost, bad kick. They're rotating those 3 off the bench, Barry.
Yeah, they are rotating Derm quite heavily. They've obviously come in with a plan. Obviously, the Swans throw up a lot of variety in terms of their forward half, so they have been coming off usually 2 on at a time, but 1 comes off each and every now and again.
Tom McDonald said, so they're trying to get at least Frost. We saw him run out of the back line before, so they're still trying to get run out of those players on a day when you do get very heavy in the legs in wet weather.
Fine start for the game from Dean Towers. He's had 9 disposals and 5 contested possessions. Unfortunately, just misses to the right. But
the other thing Melbourne are doing quite well is Hogan and Dawes are pushing right up the ground. Petrarca has been the man one-on-one inside 50. Obviously dangerous on the ground as well as in the air.
McDonald thought he had that under control. Rowan looked like he might have hurt himself.
He just hung it out there a little bit, Tom McDonald, didn't he?
He's hurt his elbow. Gary Rowan, we thought he was gone with a hamstring last week.
He's a little bit like that cartoon character Quentin. He just does something every time he goes to the contest. He gets an ache or a pain or a sprain.
Well, he's in the...
Need to keep him healthy. He doesn't string them together too often in terms of games.
In amongst it again there to try and find a way for another Sydney shot at goal. Look at all those players around it, trying to get a piece of the action. McDonald tackled by about 3. Hanbury had it, lost it. Viney, Jones, that's Zach Jones. Oh, Rose, young player, he's full of enthusiasm and energy at the moment. Back to Jones again, anything could happen from here. Nankervis just not quite in the right spot. No one knew where the ball was going to come. And Oscar McDonald sees it through.
Let's have a look at... I'll just give it a bit of a tweak. Well, it's already strapped, so he's got some kind of ailment there already. Eats off an extra 8 or 9 metres.
Trengove kicks, McDonald, gone. Well handled by Hanbury and Parker, and was able, even in these conditions, to show the dab hand and find McGlynn.
He's having a good 6 or 7 minutes here, the Swans.
There's Nankervis up forward. He's been a dangerous player.
Rowan threatening with 3 demons around, put his head over the footy. And still can't find an escape. They're snatching and grabbing at the ball, trying to fashion some sort of clean possession. They're appealing. They don't really know what for. In the chaos of it all, the ball's out of bounds as Tom McDonald comes off.
He got sore from that kicking. He went for the ball. He fisted the ball to stop the Sydney Swans marking it, but he didn't carry on with the play after that. So he obviously landed awkwardly.
Been a dominant period by the Swans, as you mentioned. And Curvis, almost. Frost, sheer weight of numbers and opportunities. Surely they'll get a shot for goal. Rose through, but didn't take the footy with him. Sinclair, Hanbury, Parker.
More strength.
Luke Parker, McGlynn. Oh, the double grab. It's so very difficult. Jones.
Left foot up.
Jack, it's curling. Not enough.
Gee, it's turned, hasn't it? Melbourne dominated the first 7 minutes.
Watch.
Oh, land on the boot.
Yeah, lands on Sinclair's boot. Retape that. Couple of extra stirrups. Get back out there, son.
Looks like they're going down the rooms, boys, so they'll put a bit of extra tape on that.
Well, he's an important player, obviously, with Buddy as his man.
Oh, well,
Rampy decided to share it with Alier before the kick comes into the forward area.
that was well done. Good boy.
Now, Hewitt, again, dabbing it further for McVeigh. So he's got that 45-degree angle looking in. Heaney calling for it long. Pokes it into the pocket. He came up to the ball in the end, Heaney. Now, that's all very good. But kicking a goal from here today is very tough.
Yes. Just a good build-up. Yeah, on that occasion, Bernie Vince was playing on him. He's not just giving coverage. He had him for about 30 seconds. He decided to play about 8 to 10 metres in front. Heaney just waited for him to look back at the kicker, and then he takes off around the inside of the boundary.
We saw Petrarca at one end kick a terrific goal. Heaney not able to do the same. And Swans now 1 goal 5, so 6 scoring shots to 2. And their lead is 4 points.
There was 8-1 inside 50s early in this game. It is now 13-9 Sydney's way. So they've had the one Melbourne in probably the last 10 minutes of football. Here's Bernie Vince. Another stat.
Yeah. Oh, Jones full-bodied at it. Trengo gives it back to the Melbourne skipper. Kent. And the ball out. No doubt, if you can get it in your forward half on a day like today, it's pretty hard to get it out.
It's so hard to work right up the other end to score, Hutto. So, yeah, you've got to make the most of the times that you're in there.
Gordon fending it down. Kennedy just buffeted it out of the road. Big Maxi making his presence felt. McVeigh, terrific gather. And if you've got sure hands today, it can certainly help. And kicks like that don't...
Oh, he's got enough.
Oh, he's got a little one right across the chops. Gary Rowan, and he'll line up for goal.
He's like the footballing version of a pin cushion. They just keep giving it to him all the time, don't they? He's had a wretched run.
Look at the rain just teeming down. Gary Rowan in his 5th game for the season has kicked 7 goals, 1. As we said, we were worried last week that he might have had another hamstring and another big period on the sidelines. It's turned out okay, but a kick, unfortunately.
We know the Swans love to tackle, boys, but they had 46 already in this first quarter of footy, and we're not finished yet. So we know they love to tackle. They had 130 odd against the Suns a couple of weeks ago. They're on track to do that again.
Yeah, set records then, didn't they? And as you said, they might beat that today the way it's going. Jones, Ben Kennedy.
Just looking at the stats, Jared McVeigh's had 9, Bernie Vince has had 9. Which one of those two players use the ball better, I think, in this game? Might get their side across the line.
Sinclair trying to get it into the space. Franklin.
Had to beeline that, Frosty.
There's your leading disposals.
Stay in the meter.
McVeigh and Towers, as you mentioned, and also Bernie Vince. And Luke Parker back getting amongst the footy after only 13 last week. Kennedy. Here's Towers. What a first quarter from Dean Towers, and it just got better, much better.
What about the release from Josh Kennedy?
Unbelievable.
As Shorey's just pointed out, there's other players who've had more possessions. What have we got? 1, 2, 3. We've got 3, 4, 5 players with more possessions than him. But constructing that goal, kicking the other goal himself, he's arguably, well, there's no surprise, the most important player out there at the moment. That's just a wonderful, wonderful release of the footy.
What a goal
They're your
the
ranking
Swans.
points, and
Yep.
Josh Kennedy's not on there because they're statistically driven, but he's arguably the most important player out there.
He wouldn't be far away, though, with the score involvements he's had. Melbourne with an opportunity. Jones wasn't able to clear the area, so gives the Demons a chance as they scramble around for the footy.
So what we saw in the last 7, 8, 9 minutes was that when the ball went into Sydney's end, it locked in. They couldn't get it out. So there's no reason why Melbourne can't do the same at this end. So they've got to really work hard, keeping the ball in. They've gone for the outside of the pack so they can get a shot forward.
The umpire just got involved in a set play there for Melbourne.
Almost got bowled over too, didn't he? Towers again
They got
off
it
the
out.
ground. Buddy. Oh, he fooled them the first time, but he's a chance.
Yep.
He's a chance. He's trying to ride this one, but even Buddy couldn't from there.
Just had the straight line. That's all he needed.
He had a shot from 90.
Well, there was no one else on. He looked inside the corridor twice.
It cleared the line. It went over.
How good is it when a player can be a chance from 80 metres, even on a wet day?
Well, he's a rare player.
Yeah, one of a kind, that's for sure. Rampy coming back hard the other way. They've been stonewalled, the Demons, on the way out by the Swans since about midway through the quarter. And that quarter comes to an end with a hard-fought opening term. Sydney 2-6-18. Melbourne did all the attacking early on, but that only produced one solitary goal. They're 1-1-7, so an 11-point lead on a day like today as the rain continues to tumble. Very handy indeed for the Sydney Swans here at the SCG.